This is Gage and Nick with Connect Lax. Today I'm going to talk about club team lacrosse, which is an awesome thing that most guys and recruits aren't really thinking about, but they should have on their radar. So there's over 300 men's and 250 women's non-varsity collegiate lacrosse teams. Why? Because lacrosse is a non-revenue sport that's expensive to operate at the NCAA level. Still, that hasn't stopped over 15,000 college students from coming together to play the sport they love, and that's a beautiful thing.
So what's the difference between MCLA and NCLL? I'm not really sure.
No, great question. So the MCLA is the Men's Collegiate Lacrosse Association. So there's over 200 teams, 2 divisions, and there's a big championship bracket. It takes place on the West Coast. It's kind of like a jamboree, maybe an LXM Pro kind of fun week for all the players.
Cool.
The NCLL is the National College Lacrosse League. It's about 100 teams. It's primarily on the East Coast. And the reason is that you cannot have a NCLL team at a school where there's a D1 program. So I went to Indiana. I played MCLA ball because we don't have a D1 team or a D2, D3. Obviously, you played D1 at Fairfield, right. So the club team at Fairfield would be in the NCLL.
Gotcha, right. Cool, so what's club lacrosse like in college?
One word, awesome. So I had a great time. It was a great fit for me. Why? You get to play competitive lacrosse. You know, there's tryouts, so you should be mindful of that and picking out your school. I think at Arizona State they had over 200 kids try out for like a 40-man roster. The other thing is that you're able to do different things on campus. So I was able to study abroad twice in Barcelona and Beijing. They are very separate cities. And then I was able to also be in a social fraternity, do different organizations on campus. And the other cool thing that's different, sometimes a blessing and a curse, is that you run the team with your teammates.
Cool. So what drove you to play club lacrosse?
Well, there's some cons before we skip ahead I want to get into. So one, you know, you're not exactly traveling in style, so that's something to keep in mind. You know, I remember going to play Georgia Tech. We drove back 13-hour bus ride, and we had one movie, The Princess Bride. While it's a great movie, you can only watch it so many times. The other thing is, you know, it's not NCAA lacrosse. You don't have the scholarships, you don't have the resources, you don't have the academic tutors on things that you had available at Fairfield. The other thing is, it is run by teammates, like I said, and that can actually be a curse because every year there's a new boss, which is the captain. So it's not like an athletic director decides if the coach stays or goes, and that can make it harder to get a coach for a long term. And I think for Indiana, you know, I had 3 coaches while I was there, and that really, I think, was an anchor on our program, helping, you know, preventing us really from going to the next step.
Yeah, wow. So again, why did you decide to play college lacrosse?
Club? Thanks. So I played high school ball in Indiana. I used to come out east. My dad went to Huntington, and I spent my summers in Jersey and Connecticut. And for me, I knew I wanted to do business. Indiana had a great business school, still does, the Kelly School of Business. Obviously, in-state tuition. I pretty much went to school for free. So for me, that was the right decision as far as what I wanted to pursue, where I knew I'd probably go to Wall Street after I graduated. And then when I got on campus, I actually decided to try out the last second. I didn't really know a lot about it. And to be honest, it was really good competition. You know, Indiana and the Kelly School is pretty popular on the East Coast. So there's some really good kids from Long Island. You could tell they got pretty amazing coaching coming up. And again, they chose to go to the Kelly School of Business versus maybe like a D2, D3 program.
Yeah, awesome. So I know, like, playing at Fairfield, you know, Division I lacrosse is like a full-time job, but like, what was the commitment like at the club level?
For sure. So I think every club team is different. I think, you know, some programs like maybe a Michigan State, they really try to run it like a structured NCAA program. I think Indiana was a little bit less so, but, you know, we had some late night practices. I think practices like 10, 11 o'clock at Mellencamp Pavilion. We had some early morning lifting, but definitely a different schedule working around the varsity. I don't know, what was it like at Fairfield?
Yeah, so we had practice in the morning. It's similar. A lot of colleges run it differently, but our program was practice in the morning, lifting in the morning, and then you go to classes for the rest of the day.
So what time do you start class?
So my earliest class was at like 10 o'clock.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So mine was too, and that's because I slept in because I played club lacrosse. But there's no right or wrong answer here. We're not here to judge.
So I know a lot of the club programs you have to pay to play. So like, how much does that cost roughly?
So when I played, dues were about $1,000. Maybe they've gone up a little bit since then. And what that includes is your helmet, your jersey, bag, and then obviously travel costs. So kind of any gear that's embroidered with your team logo will be covered in the dues, but things like your stick, cleats, and pads underneath your jersey, those are not going to be covered. When I was there, we created a booster club where we got kind of sponsored by a local pizzeria. We did community service and marketing for them to help kind of defer some of the costs, and I think that's also common at NCAA level.
Yeah, we did marathons and other fundraising events to get some money for equipment, helmets, and new stuff that we wanted additional to what the school gave us.
Cool. So I think one big thing people always ask me is like, what's your best memory? So I think for us, we went down to LSU. I think we actually were at Florida State too. So we won a big game there when they were top 10. So the team was riding high, and we spent the week on bourbon. And 30, 40 lacrosse players on bourbon is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Luckily, maybe that was a good week to not be an NCAA team.
Yeah.
But we definitely had a great time, and I mean that's really what it's about. It's about the guys, and the team, or obviously the girls, and it's that camaraderie. And that's one of the reasons I'm really glad that I kept playing, because I still wanted to be part of a team after high school, and club lacrosse allowed me to pursue the right college for me and the academic pursuits I wanted that set me up for the right job while still playing the sport I love. And then again, if you guys have more questions, feel free to put in the comments section. Definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel to see more information about recruiting and also what college coaches are looking for in college. And then again, our matching service, which has all the programs, over 1,450 from club to D1. That's where you can find a school that maybe fits you on and off the field, where there's a great architecture program or something that makes it the right fit for you. You can look at all those criteria.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Cool.